Well, hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Joanne. I am the lawyer, a law student from Australia. I hope you're all doing well. Hello, Bella Marie. How are you? Tomorrow is my first exam, so I thought I'd better have a bit of a couple of hours, a little bit fun. Hello, Angela. So I want to talk about a few things today. I want to talk about Anthony Koletti. I want to talk about with other people. I know I haven't dealt with her for a while, but I've been a bit behind in her lawsuits. And then wanted to look at I call it the Buzz fallout, but there's the media has picked up the story about Google having to green screen clean up. Yeah, that's right. The media has really picked up the fact that Google has to pay Barilaro over $700,000, and I wanted to look at that. Or YouTube. But what I find really interesting about that decision, though, is that there's been no order for the videos to come down. That's what I mean. I mean, so while he mediated with, while Barilaro mediated with Shanks over the YouTube videos and edited versions are up, Barilaro complained that they were still causing him harm. And it seems that at no stage, even in their remedies, that he wanted the videos down. So from what I can work out, the videos can still stay up. It seems to be odd, doesn't it? Wouldn't you want the videos to come down? My back screen is playing up. Yeah, it probably is. I've got to learn to sit still. If I sit still, I'm fine. I've got to stop fidgeting. So let's look at this. I started writing out some stuff on. Well, look, it's freezing cold. Well, it's cold. I've got my jumper on and I've got my heater on, and my background picture looks like it's nice and sunny. Hey, so so without a crystal ball updates, we know that the 7M case is waiting for the judge to make a decision, and there's been some consent orders in the Chrysler case. The Fox says Bruz didn't care about defamation. He wants money. Well, he's got money. I'd be interested in the costs to see whether Google's going to pay his costs, or how that will work. But what I'm going to be more interested in is if New South Wales ICAC defines pork barreling as corruption, and then those comments that Friendly Geordie said about him being corrupt would then therefore be statements of fact. Could be then argued that they're statement of fact, not defamation. Anyway, it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. But Jordan Shanks, I posted on my community tab Shanks's response about it. He did his usual, stuff, and apparently Christo, his producer, had journalists turn up at his house wanting a statement. So it's all very interesting. I don't think that this matter is far from over. Because don't forget, if they can find the link between barilaro and the fixated persons unit, there's a civil suit there. He might get the 700. He might get the 700 grand back. Oh, no good. Oh, thank you, Bella. Thank you for the super chat. The costs were to be determined. Plan to create. They've got until the 14th of June to. No, they've got until the dates. I've got the judgment here. Wait on. Here's the judgment. They've got until 21st of June to file any evidence to support, limited to 3 pages in response, and then the other party 28th of June. On or before the 14th of June, the applicant and respondent file and serve any evidence and written submission if it seeks an order in respect of costs. He says if there is no order, if they don't put anything in, then the respondent is to pay the applicant's costs. So yeah, so if they want to fight over costs, they've got a deadline for that. Otherwise, if they don't do that, and then, so it's there. So if they don't, so for the 14th of June, there has to be something about over costs. Otherwise, the respondent will pay the costs. And then if either party makes an application, then this is the dates before that. So, and I don't know whether Friendly Daughters has made a statement over the contempt of court, the contempt charge that he's on suggested, but it's a bit confusing. But anyway, so let's look at Tony Koletti. Now, what I found really interesting is the Liar, the Melissa Caddick podcast, is really uncovering some stuff. This is what we call investigative journalist. Now, so this is looking at her disappearance. We know that, So the toy boy, the DJ, and the cash withdrawals. Anthony Koletti in the spotlight after wife's disappearance. So he's the husband of Melissa Caddick, who's missing. Is likely to face a public examination by court-appointed liquidators after lodging a claim over her assets and asserting that his income went to supporting her and her teenage son. So he's actually putting a claim to the liquidators to say that he needs some of the money that's been recouped. That is right. He's saying he has a claim over the money. So in the latest episode of the podcast, Liar, and I'll put the link in here into here so you can grab it. So it's actually on Spotify. So or Apple, wherever good. It reveals that Koletti's financial records for a 3-year period until March 2020 shows thousands of dollars in cash were regularly deposited in his bank account. Within days, Koletti would withdraw all via ATMs in hotels around Sydney. So he was thrust into the limelight when his wife disappeared in November 2020. Remember, Caddick stole $23 million from her family and friends who thought they were investing in shares. Despite not being aware of the fraud, he enjoyed years of high life. Oh, thank you, Bella. Melissa never gave me a cent, he says. I pay for myself. This is what he told Channel 7. It's not like I was some desperate double bay housewife living off the wife, which is what everyone thinks. Why wouldn't I be entitled to something? The claim is at odds at what told the federal court in December 2020. He's now saying that he paid his own way, that he wasn't some desperado that was living off the wife. He says he wrote in an affidavit, and he produced bank records to show he only had $1.95 to his name. And he stated, and we did actually look at this affidavit, I was last employed on a part-time basis as a hairdresser until the COVID-19 lockdown commenced late in March 2020, Koletti said. The court also heard that his wife was the primary breadwinner. It was decided he would quit work altogether to take care of home duties and look after his stepson. As a result, I do not earn an income. My living expenses and those of our Dover Heights household are paid for by Melissa Caddick. So in court documents, he says that, but on Channel 7, he was saying, I pay my own way. So Koletti has declined the requests to be interviewed on the podcast. He's denying that he lived the high life on the back of his wife's fraudulent scheme. However, they found in his business account, Pause Off Productions, that there were large numbers of cash deposits and bank withdrawals. 3,000 go in, 2,000 go in, 500 goes out, 600 out, 500 out, 500 out, 500 out, 500 out. So remember, this is at odds with his previous disclosures that to the federal court that his company, Pause Off Production, had no income and no assets. The podcast reveals in an episode that Koletti's bank statements admit a crucial fact. The hairdresser has failed to explain the source of $54,000 deposited in smaller cash and direct transfers into his business bank account for Pause Off Production in the 3 years from April 2017. This source of income is separate to the $600 to $800 a week he earned from his part-time job at Joe Bailey's hair salon in Westfield, Bondi Junction. Koletti's bank records show that at the end of each, his account only had a few cents in it. But within a few days, a mysterious benefactor makes a cash deposit of thousands of dollars. Maybe he's got Christian Porcupine Trust. I don't know. The bank statement shows Koletti withdraws the money daily in 3 lots of $500 from ATMs in Sydney, around Sydney and the Central Coast. For example, in early May 2017, $5,000 was deposited into his account. On May the 12th, 2017, he withdraws $1,500 in 3 separate withdrawals at Crow's Nest Hotel. 4 days later, he's at Eastern Hotel in Bondi Junction, making 2 withdrawals of $500 each. The next day, he does the same thing at his hotel, Bondi Junction. This is the pattern repeated month in, month out. His claim prompted Michael Hayter, Koletti, saying, at some stage there's going to need to be a reconciliation. You assert you have paid for the benefit of Melissa Louise Caddick, but the payments that you have received the benefit of. The benefit you have received appears to far outweigh the cash withdrawals you have highlighted. Hayter is referring to luxury that he lived on the back of his wife's fraud. Apart from the $500,000 she spent on holidays, Koletti drove a $390,000 sports car, or thousands of dollars worth of jewelry and watches which his wife bought him. He also has put claims in for the jury to say that the jewelry and the watch gifts from her. Kolettis have told investors Caddick's failed scheme that because of the claims made against the fraudsters, including by Koletti and her parents Ted and Barb Grimley, they are now considering public examinations to explore the validity of the claims. The podcast also reveals that some family and friends considered Caddick such a controlling influence over her much younger husband, they dismissively referred to him as the toy boy. Koletti, an aspiring musician and DJ, released an album called Raid, in which he makes extraordinary allegations against investigators. So here's a. You tell me whether this music is any good.
I work for the federal police. People spin out when I tell them that I've got a 6-figure salary.
His songs include lyrics recounting the events of the raid from his perspective. including mimicking a female investigator in one song. You should turn your body cam off so we don't get into trouble. He sent a text to one of his wife's victims promising all proceeds are going to people who lost money, including myself. The investor told the podcast, I haven't received anything yet and I'm not holding my breath. So this is really, really interesting. This public examination means that if they go by public, because there's all these claims now and Koletti's put in a whole lot of claims, it means by public examination, all of his bank accounts are now going to, he'll have to submit everything and they're going to go through everything. So it may actually backfire on him and he's going to have to explain where all these mysterious bits of money came from and how it came there. And then if it's determined that it's come from his wife, then he does have the two songs mixed give time. I could probably find the original songs. Hello, Bo. Sorry, you popped in. Hello. Welcome. So, what do you reckon? So I did put the question, is he telling the truth? Or what truth is he telling? What do you think? The other interesting thing is I found this to be amusing. It's also and just in case, our interest rates have risen by 0.85% today too. So Ben Fordham, the host of 2GB, tells Anthony Koletti that his music's atrocious. They have a public stoush at the moment. So 2GB's Ben Fordham has taken aim at Sydney Forster's Melissa Caddick's husband over a bizarre song that mentions the radio host. He wrote the radio host. Mentions the radio host. Anthony Koletti has released the song that features lyrics critical of Fordham and other journalists over the coverage of his wife's case. So the lyrics are 2GB with Ben Fordham, more like zero Snordham. Is that all he could do to get that to rhyme? Like Fordham, Snordham. So anyway, got to give him credit for rhyming it. Get off your high horse. You get told what to report, fam. Like Will said, I'd like to tell you to keep my wife's name out of your mouth, he says. Fordham claimed the reason he's featured in the track is due to his sharing of strongly held views about Koletti living in a fantasy land. So Fordham made a dig at Koletti's musical talents during his breakfast show this morning and played snippets of the song. Anthony, I have a feeling you won't be needed at the Grammys or the Arias or the Dover Heights upcoming DJ competition, Fordham said. Your music is atrocious. Let it go, get a job, and stop expecting some poor sucker is going to give you another handout. Fordham also took the opportunity to invite Koletti for an interview on 2GB. So remember, we'll keep going over this, Caddick vanished from the Dover Heights home in November 2020, just after she was going to be investigated by the Australian Security Investments Commission. They found a partial foot. She's not been seen, and he was evicted out of his Dover Heights home last month, but has made a claim to some of her assets seized by the police. So the house is lost. So the house is going to be sold at auction, but a lot of the jewelry and I think the computers and the iPads, he's put claims on all of those. So an inquest into Caddick's presumed death will begin later this year, and then they've just put a disclaimer to say that 2GB is owned by Nine, who publishes the website. So yeah, there's actually a disclaimer. Wow. So what do you, we still don't know where she is. September, I think, is when the inquest is going to be. And the coroner will work out what's happened to her. So, What, you know, are there any thoughts? So what state is this? So that was New South Wales, all that's happening in. Do you think that she went into hiding, Bella Marie says? I don't know where she is. I'd be very interested to know myself. Well, that's what the coroner's going to determine. I mean, she's presumed dead because she's been gone for so long. Because the theory is she jumped into the water off the cliffs, hence why the foot got washed up. Just curious, police. Oh, the police auction. Yes, it could be interesting. Yes, I know the Fox. It could be very interesting to get the stuff. But Coletti's put a claim in it all for the moment. But see, he's got some explaining to do. He's put into affidavits that he didn't earn any money, and now all of a sudden there's all this money sitting that went in and out of an account. But if she started a new life, she has a leg missing or a foot missing. I know that you can have a prosthetic foot, but it seems like a big thing to do just to escape. And it didn't look like it looked like people forget hit delete on the computer, doesn't delete. That's right. Yes. All right. So let's look at I've called it the Bruz fallout. So this is Twitter. This is what Twitter is showing. So first of all, it's trending. It is trending on Twitter. So Google to pay former New South Wales Deputy Premier Barilaro from over-friendly Geordie's YouTube videos. It's been a long journey, a long 2 years. Former Deputy Premier John Barilaro. He's won a massive payout after suing Google for defamation. And then here's the story here.
Campaign of cyberbullying.
Here we go.
Former Deputy Premier John Barilaro has won a massive payout after suing Google for defamation. The internet giant has been ordered to fork out more than $700,000. A judge finding it profited from an offensive, racist campaign of cyberbullying against Mr. Barilaro by a comedian on YouTube. Once second in charge of the state, now putting a tech giant to the sword. You've got to be the courageous or stupid to take on Google, and maybe there's a bit of both. Politics is a dirty game. Hey, Barra. After the federal court ruled YouTube's friendly Geordie's videos had left John Barilaro traumatised.
Yes, apparently they left him traumatised.
Google did nothing to stop it. Google encouraged and facilitated vitriolic, obsessional, hate-filled cyberbullying and harassment of Mr. Barilaro. It did so with a view to its commercial profit, awarding the retired politician $715,000 in damages.
What do you reckon about that, though? I'm interested. What does everyone think about that? Oh, come
retired
on.
Politician $715,000 in damages. I'm happy that on the record now it's clear that Google allowed this to happen. I have been defamed. But Google's loss, it's warned, could come at a wider cost.
Today's decision will, to a certain extent, have a chilling effect on free speech in Australia, and I just don't think that's a good thing.
Legal.
There we go. Yeah, this is the thing. This is what a lot of people are concerned about, freedom, free speech. Whether or not YouTube clamps down internationally or just in Australia could be a problem.
Action against comedian Jordan Shanks has already settled with an apology, but the videos will keep coming.
When we see government that isn't acting in the best interests of Australians, we'll make videos on it. And so we'll continue to do that, and we'll fight to do that.
A scathing judgment and maybe more action. The court referring both Google and Mr. Shanks for possible contempt of court charges, finding improper pressure was placed on Mr. Barilaro during this case, and calling on Parliament to tighten the rules around social media. It is unfair for the little guy out there, and I see it every day. They don't have the opportunity to defend their name.
Chrisma, 7.
So there you go. So there's another one. There's another one. It says, just quietly, the barilaro Google judgment is the outcome that Morrison's failed social media trolling defo legislation was aimed at doing, except for the bit about not holding page owners liable. So it kind of showed the justification for the legislation was always weak. Has there ever been more meme screenshots in an Australian court judgment than in the barilaro and Google defamation case? That's a really good question, because I thought, well, this is what I'm saying, plan to create. What happens if Jordan was right and Bruzzy's found to be corrupt? Maybe Geordie could sue Bruz. Well, could Google then sue Barilaro because he got the money on false pretenses? This is my issue here, because of the fact that New South Wales ICAC is looking into look into pork barrelling, and we know that former New South Wales Premier Gladys Berejiklian said that pork barrelling was okay, and by his own words, John Barilaro was pork barrelaro and he liked to pork barrel. So we've got this one. This headline says, former New South Wales Deputy Premier John had been awarded $715,000 in defamation damages from Google, and his YouTube nemesis, Jordan Shanks, faces possible prosecution for contempt of court. Yeah. So Shanks did actually have... Google seems not to care about people's... Well, the problem that I've got with some of this is that it was evident that a lot of it was satire, and a lot of it came from conduct from his job as a politician. That's what I would. So this is what he said. This was his statement. Well done, John. You finally scored the coin from Google, class act, and you managed to get it without ever having the truth tested in court. You claimed parliamentary privilege to prevent evidence being run against you. You withdrew your action against us so you wouldn't testify or present our evidence. Poor old Google left to carry the can. I guess they are rich enough not to care. We know that around the same time your lawyers were drafting your concerns notice, that's cease and desist for those of you in America, you went to the terror police and strike force with full surveillance powers was set up against us, the very people you intended to sue. Is it just us, or does something about that smell fishy? Then it says, pretty poor behaviour from Channel 7. They went to Christo's grandmother's house to ask for comment about the Barilaro's defo case. Christo wasn't sued, let alone his family. Even more ironic, considering he faced stalking charges because he bumped into Barilaro. Fixated police unit, are you going to do anything? And then Julian Burnside, a top lawyer, a very well-respected lawyer in Australia, said, if you've got a few minutes, watch Friendly Geordies on YouTube. It's a very entertaining and arguably the very best news program in Australia today. Just to add insult to injury. So a lot of the stuff that came about, if you remember, came about from Barilaro's job as a politician and things that he did as a politician. I don't necessarily agree with everything that Friendly Geordies did, but I will always defend his ability to do it, because, we are supposed to live in a country where you are able to live in the freedom to have an opinion and a view that is different to everybody else's. But it seems that it is not going to work. I mean, if anybody has a case against the media, it's Daniel Andrews. They refer to him as Dictator Dan. They just are relentless. Yes, and Peter Credlin told people take a baseball bat to Dan Andrews. No one took her to court. So yeah, it's very bizarre. I just don't know. I mean, I know that there were complaints over the Mussolini from Barilaro, yet there was Dan Andrews dressed up as was it Stalin or one of the dictators. And if you're gonna say that that's wrong, then the other one's wrong. You can't say that because one politician's with a particular party that it's fair game, but if you do it to another party that happens to be in government at that time, it's not fair game. It's either an even playing field or there's no playing field at all. That's my view. That's my rant. Hello, Vedandra. So I don't know. I'm very interested to see what the New South Wales ICAC rules. If they make this ruling on pork barreling, and that then whether they make it retrospective. If they make it a retrospective rule, Barilaro could be in trouble. And again, if it's deemed that he was in fact corrupt, then the phrase about him being corrupt that Barilaro objected to in his defamation suit, of course, would be a true fact. I sort of have a feeling that they just figured that it wasn't worth fighting Barilaro, that they'll just pay him off. That's my feeling. But his Honour didn't think that there was justification in any of it. And it would also states that showing receipts don't mean anything either, because remember, for everything that Shanks said, he had supporting evidence. So, and I didn't know when it was wrong to not like somebody and to put your view online that you don't like somebody. So, at least 3 LNP ministers admitted to use the fake Facebook account. Well, that's the other thing. There's a lot of other social media stuff. Is he going to sue Twitter? Is he going to sue Facebook for all the comments that were put onto his pages? Because some of the stuff has come about through other streams of media. It was the Daily Mail that revealed that he had an affair with the staffer. That wasn't Friendly Daughters. That created a whole pile of other media for him. So I just find it very, very interesting. But it's good to be back, people. It's really good to be back. So as I said, I've got an exam. I think it's due to hit at 4:00 tomorrow. So I won't be in any fit state to stream, I don't think, tomorrow. All right. Oh, dear. Well, based on the Fox says Morrison knew about his ministers using Facebook account. Isn't Morrison responsible? Well, if we want to take Justice Rare's view that you are responsible, so that so he's saying that Google or YouTube or Google is responsible for what content creators place on their page, on their channels, and that Google and YouTube are liable for what comments are put on there. Now, I have to say, I don't remove comments. I don't remove comments except the spam ones, because I believe that everybody has a right to their comment. I don't have to agree with it. You don't have to agree with it, but it's that person's right to leave it. Of course, Murdoch's responsible for Credlin the Fox. Well, Boris Johnson, he just survived a vote of no confidence. In the UK, I don't know whether everyone picked up on that. What's the latest update about Todd Chrisley and KJ? Well, they've come to a consensus. They've filed some consent orders, so we have a new plan of attack. We're waiting for the verdict from 7M, for the decision from the 7M, suit the other day. I didn't go to the hearing with 7M, but I heard it was a doozy. In the fact that it was 7M's lawyers talked about being drunk on Instagram. And it's interesting that she hasn't been live on Instagram for so long. And it was soon after that hearing that the account, her first account, miraculously got working again. I'm such a cynic. I'm just such a cynic. Vedandra says, one of the things I learned from YouTube is that all politicians are the same in every country. Yes, Vedandra, we've got new government, brand new government, been in power for 2 weeks, and the opposition's already started about how much in debt we are, despite the fact that the new government's been in for 2 weeks, and it's their debt. I just laugh now when the now opposition says we're going to hold them to account. Yeah, hold them to account to stuff that you did, right? Yeah, so it's interesting. The day after the election, the Sunday morning, I think I spoke to so many people who said it was good waking up in the morning for the first time they actually felt it was going to be a good day. And they've already done some stuff. The good news is that the cashless debit card is on its way out. Hallelujah. So this was, this is Todd Chrisley's. This is the latest on Todd Chrisley. So this was filed on the 6th of June. On the 6th of June, it says, you are notified that on the 1st of June, the following was filed, an order. So, and this is the order. So it was previously unsigned. It was a order granting stipulation revising joint discovery plan and scheduling order. It was proposed, and now it's been signed. So it's been signed on the 1st of June. So it says that the above caption matter came before the court on the parties' stipulation revising joint discovery plan and scheduling order. So politics, the more things change. I have a friend. So they've come to this agreement. So it is ordered with the new deadlines. So discovery is going to be completed by the October 28, 2022. Discovery is going to be amazing. Joinder of additional parties and any amendments of pleadings must be accomplished by September 2, 2022. All right. So they've got to do that. A party who bears the burden of initial expert disclosures and reports shall file by November the 11th. Rebuttals will be the December 16. Expert depositions will be done on January the 13th. Expert discovery will be completed on January 13th. Non-dispute motions shall be heard Friday the 3rd. There is a mediator selection deadlines, mediation completed, pre-trial. Well, that's interesting plan to create. She did, but that is not in this order. I was going to put trigger warning because of KJ. So let's have a look. Yes, she did put it, but it's because she wanted a motion to dismiss, but she wanted it also after the other hearing. Let's go back here. So that's the stipulation. That was the proposed order. That was the proposed order there. Notice the filing of order. Let's have a look what these are. She got an extra, yes, so she got the extra 7 days. But she hasn't, the motion to dismiss doesn't look like it's been dealt with. So this was what was proposed due to the need to extend deadlines. So they put that in and the judge has now approved it. So that was that one. Proposed order. Yeah, so that is the, so then that's the proposed order, which she signed. So she signed it. Yeah. So at the moment, plan to create, that hasn't been dealt with. There is a motion hearing on the 20th of July. I'm assuming that's for the motion to dismiss. That's the only thing it can be. Because they've already got all the discovery and everything in place. So, yeah. Now the 7M case, is under advisement. So remember that there was this hearing held using remote technology. I haven't seen this one yet. That was her reply memorandum to support her motion to dismiss. That's right, plan to create. Yes, she did. She withdrew it and filed a counterclaim. That's correct. It was this one she did the motion to dismiss. This is what is waiting for. This is what the judge is deciding on now. That's right. She did file a counterclaim. That's right. So that one we're waiting for a decision. From what I've heard, 7M's lawyers ran rings around hers. That's just what I've heard that from every single person that attended the hearing. That they went in and they just said that, and that 7M's lawyers referred to drunken lives, and that when she had lots to drink, that's when she would. That was when she went with all the defamation. So. You know, there's been no evidence to say that it's even true or it's not true, or it's, so bans her from the internet. The Fox, what will we talk about? See, this is the thing. Lots of people want her off the platform, but what are we going to talk about? There are people that just have whole channels on her. What are they going to do if she left? Admittedly, the Doggers will get some peace. But what what are we going to talk about? That's what I want to know. And she looks like she's still shadow banned. They could actually go outside into the real world, but what's the point of that? It's so cold. There's actually an account called there's Without a Crystal Ball, Without a Crystal Ball 2, and someone started Without a Crystal Ball 3. So, and apparently Anna Duggar wore pants. There you go. That's the biggest thing. I know I haven't been outside for 2 weeks. Oh no, I've been outside. It's just very cold. I go to football matches every Saturday and Sunday. So There are many more you can. I'm sure there are many more you can talk about. I just, we could talk. We could talk about Greek myths. We could. We could. So Elon Musk, I was reading today, has talked about walking away from Twitter the sale because something about a list of fake accounts. He wants to know how many accounts are fake and how many are real. Oh, look, I've got a shadow. And of course, we've got a state election coming up as well. So, yeah. Oh, and the Queen celebrated 70 years of being the Queen. That's pretty special. Here, I don't know whether all of you people that are in the US have heard about Elon Musk doesn't want any workers in the office. There's a big scandal at the moment because Prince Louis is a normal 4-year-old boy that can't sit still during boring concerts. The shame of it all. The shame of it all. That Princess Catherine and Prince William, they couldn't control their 4-year-old during the boring concert. He's a 4-year-old. He's 4. Like, leave her alone. Leave her alone. How is band been going? Band's been going all right. But a 4-year-old boy is not going to sit through a concert or a parade or anything. I can't sit still and I'm a little over 4. I've got the same problem the fox. I get really bored very easily and I would be very bored. I must say, some of his facial expressions, I'm just trying to see if I can find pictures. Some of his facial expressions, I have to say, are classic. Where she's telling him off and he pulls a face at her. I mean, that was hilarious. It shows you, it just shows you that they're just like normal people. They're just normal people. This is my favorite. Unfortunately, I'm watching YouTube show 3 things. This is I've just, funny enough, Sky News. I just want to show you this. This is hilarious. So, and in fact, he went and sat on his grandfather's knee, and I thought, I wonder how many others would say that they got to sit on the future king's, knee in a public thing. So, it's showing that. There you go. Look, he puts his hand over his mum's face. How many 4-year-olds have done that to their mothers? Louis, do you? Louis, shh, Mum, I'm trying to listen. And then look, this is my favorite. This is my favorite of them all. Prince Louis seems to sass his mother. Prince Charles and Prince William took turns at letting him sit on their knees. He struggled. He was just bored. Look. Couldn't. Wow. So, but I have to say, this is a nice picture of Charles with Prince Louis on his lap. That is just lovely. So, I thought it was hilarious. But for me, he's a normal 4-year-old boy. Whether he's a prince, whether he's royalty, he's a 4-year-old boy. But as I said, Vedandra says, I watched their pictures and they're so cute. The princess looks like she's going to be the boss, which she goes. I think she is going to be, isn't she? She apparently, yeah. She's going to rule the roost. Little what's George? I've forgotten her name. Charlotte, isn't it? Charlotte? Princess Charlotte? Yeah, she's going to be. But yeah, he seems to have been the main attraction. So, but you know, people have been, you know, people were saying that Catherine didn't have control over him and should have kept a tighter control on him. You know, it's really quite scary. Oh, so this is just a follow-on. I've just found this. This is the ABC. Is for Google. John Barilaro's win is a reminder for Google to take legal threats seriously, experts say. Now, I was just scrolling down here. So this case is the latest in a line of defamation lawsuits brought by politicians, with opposition leader Peter Dutton and former Attorney General Christian Porter. While Mr. Douglas acknowledged Google's liability in this instance, he was disappointed that such proceedings have become commonplace. I think it's sad we are tolerating a culture in which politicians use defamation as a weapon to silence their critics, even when the criticism is unreasonable and even when it is defamatory. In his judgment, Justice Rez noted that those in public life must have broad backs and be prepared to face harsh criticisms, but this doesn't extend to hate speech or vilification, even if they're a high-profile politician. However, Mr. Douglas says it's important to get the balance right and not overcook it. Millions of Australians depend on Google, and it provides invaluable access to information. If we push it too far in finding it liable for every little thing we find offensive, we may get to the point where some of the benefits of the modern era are lost to Australians. The saga is not quite over for Google or Shanks. They have both been referred to the principal registrar of the court for potential contempt relating to a 2021 video simply identified by a tongue emoji. The court found the video tried to intimidate Mr. Barilaro and his lawyers to drop the case, and actually had its desired effect, as Mr. Barilaro asked his lawyers to settle with Google before changing his mind. Mr. Douglas said it was serious, as courts must protect the democratic rights of all citizens to bring legal proceedings. So this result in some pretty severe consequences so this could result in some pretty severe consequences in the near future, he said. Google didn't give a response. So well, as I think that's correct, the Fox. If he didn't hide behind parliamentary privilege, we'd be having a totally different conversation about this all. Yeah. So the other thing is that they said they could have saved itself some embarrassment because they're saying the legal strategy was to try and wear him down through the courts, which is, look, it's quite often. I actually filmed one. I filmed one today, I think. No, I did a flip through today, Vedandra. I've actually pre-planned. I have to do a pre-plan. I'll have to show you my pre-plans. But yes, I need to do one. Because yeah, I'm going to put the my May flip through on soon. But yeah, my little book's getting a bit. My book's getting a bit full. Look at it. Look, there's not much left. I'm trying to decide what I want next. Whether I want to go for another Stellargy or whether to go. What does Plan to Create? What are you using at the moment? Or whether to go for a week's, whether to go for something undated. I don't know. I'm still trying to work out what I'm going to do. So I had the person that I'm seeing come and help me do a cleanup the other day, and they chucked out my sticker book with all my stickers. I nearly ended it. You cannot throw out my stickers like that's. I'm sorry, that's an edible offence. You cannot throw out my sticker books. You can't throw out my sticker book. You use the Otto brand or Officeworks, Bella Marie. Oh, that's interesting. I'll have to look into that. And I know the half-yearly Hibernachis come out too, the new financial year ones. So, but yeah. Aha! This is what Plan to Create uses. Standard Traveler's Slot Notebook size and funny can come back. I should still. Oh, look, it's not very good. I found Milligram. There's a Milligram store in where is it? Melbourne Central. That's a stationery supplier, and they sell the Traveller's Notebooks. They sell all the Traveller's Notebook stuff because I did spend some money there. That was naughty of me, but you know. Yeah, I knew it was a mistake to walk in there. You use it in an Otto bullet Jennifer. Like, cool, nice. Oh, I'm gonna have to go and have a look. So, yeah, pretty cool. I don't know if there is one at High Point Plan to Create. Look, I don't get out very much. Probably there is because that would be closest. But yes, there is one at High Point. Melbourne Central, Carlton, Chadstone, High Point, Doncaster. Yes, there is. I just had to pass it to get back to the train, to go from where my daughter worked to the train station, and that was deadly. Plus, I walked past the largest Lego store in the Southern Hemisphere, like its one whole floor of, one whole section of Melbourne Central. I didn't step foot in there because I knew that was going to be problematic. I figured I could only deal with one temptation. I could only break one. I could only be strong. There's a great. Doncaster, Dandenong. I'll send you a message with what it is, and then you can work out where it is. So. Yeah. The other interesting thing is that there is a case that's going on today. So there is a Twitter user called PR Guy, and Twitter has been ordered. This is coming in today, and this is pretty scary too. Twitter has 14 days to reveal details of who this PR guy is. So this is what the court ordered. This is what the court has ordered today. So this is Twitter. The basic subscriber information, to the extent that it is, pertaining to the user who created the Twitter account with the handle PRGuy17. In this order, basic subscriber includes the name from the account at the time of production, the email address from the account, the date of registration and time of production, the IP address, the date the account was registered, and then any changes, the 31st December, and liberty to apply 5 days. There are no costs of order. So this came out today. This PR guy lots of people don't know who it is. So that's the full order. Application was made by RW journalist and convicted wife basher Ozraeli Avi, as many of you know. Interesting. So they think that this PR guy is an insider in the state government. This is what the allegation is. So someone says, hey, if they successfully dox PR guy and it turns out PR guy is an employee of Dan Andrews, which we expect they aren't, then can't that person then sue Yemeni for defamation? Avi could be to kick his own goal. Because when PR guy says that something's going to happen, they're right on the money. They've got some great sources. What if PR guy uses strip clubs to upload? I don't know. So it says how it started. So I don't know how it started. Morning PR guy. Oh, and he blocked him. How it started, how it's going. And then the federal court. So it's a controversial political account. He's obviously got insiders everywhere. I thought we were supposed to find out PR's secret identity today. What's taking so long? So, so that's what's happened today. So I don't know, as I said, I don't know who this PR guy, but it's trending on Twitter. Twitter has 15 days to hand PR guy over to me. I'm asking PR guy. The confines of free speech doesn't give you the right to hide behind a fake profile to defame or do a lot of the things that PR guy has done. It doesn't stop the consequence of your actions. So then everyone is saying we are all PR guy. And I endorse June 6th PR Guy Day. This has been brewing for a while. They've been trying to out him for ages. They were supposed to out him before the election. I think Avi might be. Well, I think he could be. I'm very concerned, though, that social media accounts are being revealed. For me, I find it very concerning that someone's personal details is going to end up in a court record. And he could be, who knows who he is? You know, it says it's bad enough that governments might misuse your social media ID address. Christo fixate, but imagine a far-wing white activist with a history of drug use and violence knowing where you live. So it says, I am PR guy too, and so is my cat. Avi Yemeni says it has long been suspected that PR guy works in Dan Andrews' office, but impossible to prove until now. And he says, still believes he's days away from finally proving I'm a secret government operative working for Daniel Andrews. He's gone to great lengths to finally prove this. Get the eggs ready. And then, yeah, Avi wrote, PR guy is suddenly very quiet. I hope Dan Andrews is doing a welfare check on his bot. So, and with the tag, don't cry, PR guy. So it's going to be this is going to be very interesting to see what happens here. You could give him some information about Ruston. So it's very concerned. But I mean, what if PR guy happens to be a normal Joe? Yemeni is going to be very disappointed when he finds out PR guy is Tim Smith. I got to retweet that. Sorry. Oh, I just get excited. Oh. So yes, I mean the state of affairs are very sad in Australia at the moment. I am PR guy, and so is my wife. So I am PR guy is actually trending at the moment. So yeah. So that's about all I've got to talk about. I mean, that's about all I had planned for tonight. Was those little things. Yeah, it was a good little break from my study. I've got torts tomorrow. Negligence. Vicarious liability. Interesting. So, all of that type of stuff. So, he's just put, look at this. Ruston told his stuff not to pass. That's a Yemeni says, Avi says, our case to unmask PR guy is not a precedent, it's our law. That's why I was so confident. Several people have done precisely the same thing to Google for the same reason. You're just sooking because it's your hero. Don't cry, PR guy. This is not stuff you should be putting on Twitter. If PR guy 17 is getting unmasked, what does that mean for people who support any political party? Am I missing something here? Is Rebel News something that is immune to criticism? I can't tell if it's news or a parody site. Terrible precedent. Well, I mean, hey, if we can unmask PR guy 17, then can't the blind trust be unmasked for Christian Porter? Just asking. Oh, wow. So, we're just going to have to watch these spaces to see what's going to happen with Friendly Geordies and Google. But as I said, I just find it very interesting that the videos are still allowed to be up. So, I mean, is Google really going to care if they get all Barilaro now has done? And because the judgment outlines all the stuff in the videos, right? People are going to go watch them because they want to see what all the fuss is about. All they've done, all he is doing is getting more traffic. So anyway, please check your. Okay, I will do shortly, because I don't have IG on my laptop. I use a different account on here. So on that note, I'm going to all love you and leave you. It was great to catch up with you. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe if you can. And I'll catch you next time. I've got some videos to upload. And, I'll catch you again soon. So thank you for watching. And until next time, bye for now.